The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Krell entered, 8 feet tall with obsidian-scaled skin and eyes that glowed with the amber light of ancient stars. The warrior moved with the fluid grace of a predator. His ceremonial armor, etched with the symbols of 1,000 battles, caught the light as he took his designated place. No one dared sit beside him. Krell was a primordial, the last of his kind, a warrior race that had roamed the stars when most species were still figuring out fire. The historical archives spoke of their ferocity in battle, their unyielding code of honor, and their eventual decline as the galaxy grew more peaceful. Now only Krell remained, serving as the Council's enforcer and protector for over 3 centuries. He hadn't spoken a word beyond military necessity in 80 years. "The human delegation has arrived," announced the Council speaker, her multiple appendages gesturing toward the entrance. "They are here to discuss their application for full membership." Humans were newcomers to interstellar politics, barely a century into faster-than-light travel. They had a reputation for being unpredictable, adaptable, and surprisingly resilient for a species so physically unimposing. The delegates filed in, looking around the grand chamber with poorly concealed awe. Their leader, a diplomatic veteran named Marcus, guided them to their assigned seats with practiced confidence. The youngest among them, a woman called Tara, stumbled slightly as she passed Krell. When she looked up and met his gaze, her eyes widened, not with fear, but with curiosity. Krell stiffened. Most beings avoided eye contact with him. Throughout the session, as representatives debated human integration into galactic society, Krell noticed the human woman glancing at him. During the recess, while other species formed conversational clusters far from where he stood alone, she approached. "Hello," she said. "I'm Tara, from Earth." Krell said nothing but inclined his head slightly. "I've read about your people," she continued, unfazed by his silence. "The archives say the primordials were not just warriors, but also historians and artists. Is that true?" Krell's eyes narrowed. It had been decades since anyone had inquired about his culture beyond their fighting prowess. "Yes," he answered, his voice a rumble like distant thunder. Several nearby delegates flinched at the sound. "I'd love to learn more," Tara said, smiling. "Perhaps you could tell me sometime?" Before he could respond, Marcus hurried over, gently steering her away. "Forgive the intrusion," he said to Krell, not quite meeting his gaze. "New diplomatic personnel often don't understand proper protocols." "It was no offense," Krell replied, surprising everyone within earshot. The following day, Tara approached again during a break in proceedings. This time, she carried something small in her hands. "On Earth, we bring gifts when meeting new friends," she explained, offering him a small wooden box. "It's nothing special, just something I thought you might appreciate." Inside was a miniature sculpture carved from Earth oak, depicting a bird in flight. Krell studied it with intense focus, turning it carefully between his massive claws. "The detail is impressive," he said finally. "I make them as a hobby," she replied. "I've always found working with my hands helps me think." Over the following weeks, as the human membership application progressed through council procedures, Tara continued seeking out Krell's company. She asked about primordial history, shared stories from Earth, and listened attentively to his increasingly frequent responses. Other delegates watched their interactions with astonishment. Some whispered that the human must be manipulating the ancient warrior for political advantage. Others suggested she was simply too naive to understand the danger. None of them understood what was happening. Friendship. When pirates attacked a civilian transport within Council space, Krell was dispatched to handle the threat. He returned victorious, but severely wounded, his black blood seeping through makeshift bandages as he stubbornly refused medical assistance. It was Tara who confronted him in the Council's military wing. "You're being ridiculous," she said, hands on her hips. "Even legendary warriors need healing." "Primordials heal alone," he growled. "Well, humans don't," she replied firmly. "And friends don't let friends suffer unnecessarily." To the shock of the medical staff, Krell allowed Tara to stay while they treated him. She talked constantly as they worked, telling him about Earth's oceans, about human music, about anything that might distract from the pain. When the council later convened to vote on human membership, many expected Krell to abstain as he typically did on political matters. Instead, he rose to speak. "I have observed humanity closely," he stated, his voice filling the chamber. "They are young, yes, impulsive certainly, but they possess something rare, the ability to see beyond difference to find connection." In 3 centuries serving this council, a human was the first to treat me not as a weapon or a relic, but as a person. He turned to look directly at Terra. "The galaxy needs more of what they offer." The measure passed unanimously. Later, as celebrations began, Krell approached Terra with something in his hand, a small pendant carved from a fragment of his own shed armor scale, etched with primordial symbols. "What does it mean?" she asked, examining the intricate design. "In my language, it means one who sees," he explained. "It was our highest compliment." Terra smiled, putting it around her neck. "Does this make me an honorary primordial?" "No," Krell replied, the corners of his mouth lifting in what might have been his first smile in centuries. "It makes me less alone." Word spread throughout the galaxy. The fearsome primordial warrior now had a human friend. And slowly, others began to approach him too. First humans, then members of other species, each finding that the ancient warrior had much more to offer than his legendary battle prowess. All because one human had chosen curiosity over fear.